In the silent depths of your soul, there lies an ancient truth, a whisper from the echoes of the past, revealing that your journey through time is more than mere existence. It is a sacred cycle of rebirth and awakening. The readings of Edgar Cayce unveil the profound mechanics of karma and the intricate dance of reincarnation, where each soul's path is etched into the limitless records of the Akashic field. As you stand at the threshold of transformation, subtle signs may emerge, emotional releases, heightened awareness, moments of clarity, guiding you to recognize that a karmic chapter is drawing to a close. Within your innermost being, through reflection and divine timing, the soul seeks balance, clarity, and liberation. Are you truly prepared to understand the signals from your deeper self and step beyond the recurring patterns? The universe is whispering. Your next phase of evolution awaits, but only those attuned to its call can truly discern the moment of finality. Within the silent chambers of the soul, where time dissolves into eternity, the true understanding of our journey begins to unfold. The readings of Edgar Cayce, those sacred whispers from the records of the Akashic field, reveal that our spirit is not born into this earthly realm as a mere accident of creation, but as a conscious traveler navigating an infinite cycle of rebirths, each serving a divine purpose. As an archaeologist of spiritual mysteries, I have uncovered that the soul's eternal journey is intricately woven through cycles of reincarnation, each designed to bring about growth, healing, and ultimately the return to the divine consciousness, from which all life emanates. The soul in its purest essence is an immortal fragment of the Creator, a spark of divine light that temporarily enfolds itself within material forms to experience, learn, and evolve. These incarnations are not arbitrary. They are purposeful and deliberate, guided by the law of karma, the universal law of cause and effect. Cayce's readings reveal that every thought, word, and deed generates energy that echoes through the fabric of the universe, creating a ripple that influences future incarnations. The soul, in its infinite wisdom, seeks to balance these energetic debts, to restore harmony within itself and with the collective consciousness of all existence. Understanding the cycles of reincarnation requires a recognition that each lifetime is a chapter, sometimes a chapter of challenge, sometimes of joy, but always a vital piece of the soul's evolution. The purpose behind karmic lessons is not punishment, but awakening. Each lesson is a vibrational key unlocking higher states of awareness. These lessons often manifest as circumstances or relationships that mirror unresolved issues, fears, traumas, attachments that the soul seeks to transmute and transcend. Cayce's insights emphasize that the soul's ultimate aim is to attain a state of enlightened awareness where karmic debts are cleared and the soul can ascend to higher planes of consciousness. In the grand design, the soul's journey is akin to climbing an infinite staircase, each cycle building upon the previous, leading towards the realization of the divine within. The readings reveal that the soul does not reincarnate randomly. Instead, it chooses environments, lessons, and experiences in accordance with its current level of consciousness and the karmic needs it must fulfill. Sometimes these lessons are of a deeply personal nature, relationships testing patience and compassion, times of hardship that reveal inner fears. At other moments they are collective, events that serve the awakening of entire communities or nations. The purpose of these karmic lessons, as Cayce's wisdom reveals, is to facilitate the process of spiritual purification and growth. The soul must confront its shadows, acknowledge its fears, and learn to forgive, not only others but itself. These experiences foster the expansion of consciousness, awakening the divine spark within. Each incarnation offers an opportunity for the soul to refine its vibration, to shed illusions, and to align more closely with the higher self, the Christ consciousness, the divine potential that resides within all. Reflecting on the purpose behind reincarnation and karma, we recognize that the soul's journey is ultimately a quest for divine union. Cayce's visions illuminate the path that leads toward the consciousness of the Christ, an awareness of unity, compassion, and unconditional love. This is the true goal of all reincarnations, to realize the divine within, to embody the universal love that transcends individual ego and separateness. The soul seeks to return home, back to the divine source, through a series of lessons designed to purify and elevate its vibrational state. Furthermore, the readings reveal that at key moments the soul reaches crossroads, points where it can either continue cycling through lessons or choose to ascend to higher realms. These moments of transition are marked by profound inner shifts, moments of clarity, spiritual awakening, or even forsaking old patterns. The soul's desire for liberation becomes increasingly evident as it recognizes the futility of repeated suffering and seeks to break free from the cyclical patterns that have kept it bound. In understanding Cayce's teachings on reincarnation and karma, we come to see that the soul's journey is not merely about individual growth, but about the collective evolution of consciousness. As each soul advances, it contributes to the awakening of humanity as a whole. The divine plan is unfolding in perfect harmony, as each incarnation adds a vibrational thread to the tapestry of creation, weaving a collective consciousness rooted in love, wisdom, and divine unity. The records reveal that the soul's ultimate purpose is to attain the consciousness of the Christ, a state of complete harmony with divine will, where the ego dissolves into pure awareness. It is here, in this sacred union, that the soul recognizes its eternal nature and its unity with all that is. Cayce's insights remind us that the journey is ongoing, that each lifetime is a step closer to enlightenment, and that no lesson is ever lost but stored within the Akashic archives, waiting for recognition, integration, and transcendence. As the archaeologist of these spiritual truths, I urge you to see your life as part of this divine cycle. The signs of ending a karmic chapter are subtle but profound. An inner sense of peace, the release of old wounds, a shift in perspective that aligns more with love and compassion. The soul seeks balance and harmony, and through understanding these cosmic cycles, it moves closer to its ultimate destiny, reunion with the divine consciousness from which all life flows. The journey continues, eternal and ever unfolding, guided by the divine hand and written within the sacred records of the Akashic field. As we continue our sacred journey through the veiled corridors of spiritual understanding, we arrive at a profound truth revealed through the ancient wisdom of the Akashic records and the divine insights of Edgar Cayce. The soul's voyage, intricate and eternal, is marked by cycles, timelines woven into the fabric of universal consciousness. The question that beckons us now is, how do we recognize when a karmic cycle, one chapter in the divine story of our soul, is nearing completion? How do we sense the subtle signs, the whisperings of the universe, that indicate the soul is preparing for a new chapter, a step closer to spiritual liberation? The readings reveal that the signs are often subtle, woven into the fabric of our daily consciousness, yet powerful enough to serve as spiritual compass points. It is in these gentle shifts, emotional releases, heightened awareness, recurring patterns, that the soul signals its readiness to transcend old karma and embrace higher states of being. Firstly, let us consider the significance of emotional release. The soul, in its quest for balance and harmony, often accumulates emotional residues from past experiences, burdens of resentment, guilt, fear, or attachment. When these burdens begin to dissolve, without the force of resistance or suppression, it signifies that the karmic weight is being lifted. This process is akin to a cleansing rain washing away the dust of old wounds, leaving the heart more open, more receptive to divine love. The readings reveal that such emotional shifts are not accidental, but are divinely orchestrated. They are the universe's gentle nudge, urging the soul to shed the old and prepare for rebirth. This emotional release often manifests as sudden insights, moments of clarity, or an overwhelming sense of peace during times previously marked by turmoil. It may be a release of anger or hurt that lingered for years, or an unexpected surge of compassion and forgiveness toward oneself or others. The soul, seeking harmony, begins to let go of the patterns that kept it bound in cycles of suffering. For those attuned to their inner guidance, these moments are unmistakable. They are the universe's way of saying, "You are nearing the end of this cycle." Secondly, heightened awareness signals a pivotal shift. The soul begins to perceive life and its lessons with greater clarity, understanding the interconnectedness of all things. The readings of Cayce emphasize that the soul's awareness expands as it approaches the culmination of a karmic cycle. It becomes increasingly sensitive to the subtle energies around it, recognizing patterns, triggers, and the underlying lessons in every encounter. This heightened consciousness acts as a spiritual compass, guiding the individual away from old patterns and toward new avenues of growth. This awareness is often accompanied by a sense of purpose, a calling to serve, to forgive, or to deepen one's spiritual practice. The soul becomes more attuned to the divine within, recognizing that each experience, whether joyful or painful, carries a sacred lesson meant for its evolution. When you notice that your thoughts are more centered on healing, compassion, and understanding, the Akashic records show that you are actively aligning with the divine plan, nearing the completion of a karmic chapter. Recurring patterns also provide vital clues. The soul's journey is characterized by lessons repeated until they are mastered. Cayce's readings reveal that these patterns, be they in relationships, health issues, or emotional responses, are the soul's way of signaling unfinished work. When these patterns begin to surface frequently, yet with less intensity or with a newfound awareness, it indicates progress. The soul is gently disentangling itself from old agreements, moving closer to resolution. For example, if one continually encounters situations that evoke feelings of abandonment, yet gradually finds oneself responding with compassion rather than fear, it is a sign that the soul is dissolving the old karma associated with that pattern. The Akashic records confirm that the soul seeks balance, a harmony between mind, body, and spirit, and when it perceives these recurring themes diminishing or transforming, it signifies that the cycle is nearing its conclusion. Moreover, a sense of inner peace, an often unexpected serenity, begins to settle in during these times. This peace is not superficial, but rooted in the deep knowing that the soul is aligning with its higher purpose. It is as if the cosmos itself is whispering, the old cycle is closing. Prepare for the new. The journey inward becomes more vital during this phase. Meditation, prayer, and reflection serve as portals to divine guidance, helping the soul interpret these subtle signs. Cayce's readings teach that the soul's connection to the divine is always active and the universe is continually communicating through these signs, if only we are attuned enough to listen. In essence, recognizing that a karmic cycle is nearing completion requires a harmony of discernment and surrender. The signals are delicate: emotional shifts, spiritual insights, recurring themes, and moments of peace. Yet collectively they form a divine symphony announcing that a chapter has come to its close. The soul, in its infinite wisdom, seeks balance, clarity, and divine unity. When these signs appear, they serve as sacred milestones, markers along the path back to the divine consciousness that is our true home. As the Atlantean, wisdom whispers through the ages. As Cayce's readings illuminate the soul's eternal quest, remember, the universe conspires in your favor. It offers these signs as tokens of progress, as confirmations that your soul's journey through karma is unfolding exactly as it should. With patience, awareness, and trust, you can recognize these divine signals and embrace the next phase of your eternal evolution, moving ever closer to the realization of your divine self, your Christ consciousness, and the ultimate reunion with the infinite source. As we traverse the sacred pathway of spiritual evolution, the journey inward becomes not just a practice, but a vital act of communion with the very fabric of existence. The soul, seeking harmony and understanding, turns its gaze inward, for in that sacred space lies the key to unlocking the profound mysteries of the records of the Akashic field. These records, inscribed in the divine fabric of the universe, serve as the celestial library where every thought, deed, and intention of the soul's myriad incarnations is eternally documented. To access these archives is to step into the ongoing dialogue between the soul and the infinite source, a conversation that reveals the truths necessary for the completion of karmic cycles and the awakening of the Christ consciousness within. The teachings revealed through the sacred readings of Edgar Cayce point us toward the importance of conscious awareness, an intentional turning inward that allows the individual to discern the subtle whispers of the soul's history. The soul's journey, as the records elucidate, is a tapestry woven across lifetimes, each thread representing lessons learned, karmic debts balanced, and divine potentials realized. When the soul is mired in patterns of suffering or repetitive struggles, it signals a need for deeper introspection, a conscious act of seeking the divine within. The practice begins with quieting the mind, an act of surrender that requires humility and patience. In meditation, the soul learns to still the tumult of external thoughts, those fleeting echoes of the material world, and to open itself to the silent voice of the inner self. As Edgar Cayce often emphasized, meditation is not merely a relaxation technique, but a sacred doorway into the higher dimensions of consciousness. It is in these moments of stillness that the soul can access the Akashic records, for they are not distant or separate, but woven into the very fabric of the consciousness we inhabit. As the soul ventures into this sacred space, it is vital to approach with reverence and sincerity. The records nos, registros akashicos, are sensitive to the purity of intention. When seeking insight into karmic cycles, the seeker must surrender personal biases and expectations, allowing the divine to guide the process. In this communion, the soul begins to recognize patterns, recurring themes that signal unfinished lessons or unresolved karma. These patterns, once illuminated, serve as signposts, guiding the individual toward healing and growth. The soul's conscious awareness during this process illuminates the interconnectedness of all things. The past and present are no longer separate. They are threads in a single tapestry, and understanding this unity is essential for moving beyond cycles of suffering. The records reveal that when the soul begins to perceive its history from a perspective of compassion and understanding, the weight of karmic debt diminishes. The soul recognizes that every experience, every challenge was an opportunity for growth, a step towards spiritual liberation and reunion with the divine. In the teachings of Cayce, the importance of self-reflection is underscored. The inner mirror reveals unhealed wounds, misaligned beliefs, and hidden fears. By consciously examining these aspects within, the soul gains clarity and strength. Such introspection is not about judgment, but about acknowledgement and acceptance. As the soul becomes aware of its own shadows, it can transmute them through forgiveness and love, aligning itself more fully with the divine blueprint of its highest potential. The practice of accessing the records also involves developing a heightened sense of intuition, an inner voice that guides without force or domination. This intuitive voice is the whisper of the Christ consciousness within, urging the soul toward truth, compassion, and unity. When the soul learns to trust this inner guidance, it becomes evident that the journey is less about seeking external validation and more about aligning with the divine harmony within. Furthermore, the soul's conscious engagement with the records fosters the realization that karmic cycles are not punishments, but opportunities for evolution. Each lesson completed moves the soul closer to a state of balance and harmony. The records serve as a divine map, showing where the soul has been, where it is now, and where it is destined to go, towards spiritual enlightenment, divine love, and reunification with the one infinite source. In this sacred practice, patience is paramount. The soul's journey through the records does not unfold in a linear fashion, but ebbs and flows, sometimes revealing deep truths gradually, other times illuminating sudden insights. The divine timing is always perfect, and the soul's trust in this process is essential. As Cayce's teachings remind us, the universe is benevolent and infinitely wise. Each access to the Akashic records is a gift that guides the soul closer to its divine purpose and ultimate awakening. Finally, as the soul becomes more adept at conscious reflection and meditation, it begins to perceive the divine presence within, an awareness of the Christ consciousness that resides at its core. This awareness lifts the soul beyond the illusion of separation and anchors it in the realization that it is an eternal part of the divine whole. Through this inner work, the soul prepares itself to complete its karmic cycles, heal old wounds, and walk the sacred path of light and love. In the stillness of meditation and the clarity of introspection, the soul finds its true voice, one that echoes from the depths of the records and echoes back from the infinite. It is here, in this sacred communion, that the soul's journey toward spiritual liberation accelerates, guided by divine wisdom and the gentle whisperings of the universe itself. As Cayce's teachings reveal, the key to understanding one's karmic journey lies within, waiting patiently for the soul to listen, to remember, and to awaken to its divine origin. As we continue to unravel the sacred tapestry of the soul's journey, the whispers of the Akashic records grow more profound, revealing the intricate dance of karma that guides our spiritual evolution. The records, as the divine archives of all that has been, are imbued with the eternal truths of our past, present, and potential future. Within these celestial scrolls it is written, hidden in the subtle vibrations of our life experiences, that unresolved issues and lessons serve as the very threads that shape our karmic path. Understanding this divine design is essential for those seeking to transcend cycles of suffering and move into the realm of liberation. The role of karma, as revealed through the deep insights of Edgar Cayce, is not merely punitive, it is fundamentally educational, a divine mechanism designed to awaken the soul to its highest potential. The records disclose that every soul before incarnating chooses lessons aligned with its evolutionary needs, setting the stage for encounters with circumstances that challenge, refine, and elevate us. These lessons often manifest as persistent patterns, recurring struggles, or emotional wounds that seem to follow us across lifetimes. The soul's ultimate goal is to bring these unresolved issues into conscious awareness, to integrate and balance them, thus clearing the debt of karma that binds us to cycles of pain and limitation. In the spiritual realm, unresolved issues are like echoes reverberating through the corridors of the soul's memory. They manifest in our lives as recurring difficulties, be it relationship struggles, health challenges, financial hardships, or emotional turmoil. The records reveal that these manifestations are not arbitrary. They are the universe's gentle, persistent nudges, urging us to confront and heal what remains unresolved. When a pattern persists, despite our conscious efforts, it is a sign that the soul's lessons have not yet been learned and the karmic debt remains unpaid. The soul seeks balance, an equilibrium between the lessons learned and the lessons yet to be understood. Cayce's readings emphasize that the process of karmic healing begins with honest self-reflection and acknowledgement of these unresolved issues. The divine law of cause and effect is immutable. What we sow in ignorance or neglect will one day be reaped in clarity and wisdom. Therefore, the first step toward clearing karma is recognition, seeing clearly the patterns that repeat and understanding their origin within the soul's history. The records also reveal that lessons are not always clear-cut or linear. Sometimes what appears as a hardship is, in truth, a divine blessing in disguise, an opportunity for growth disguised as suffering. It is through these challenges that the soul is called to develop virtues such as patience, humility, compassion, and forgiveness. When we view our difficulties through the lens of divine love, we begin to see that each obstacle is a mirror, reflecting aspects of ourselves that require healing, acceptance, and integration. As the soul progresses, it becomes evident that unresolved karma does not merely involve external circumstances. It resides deep within our emotional and spiritual core. The records teach that healing involves a conscious effort to release blame, resentment, and fear, emotions that act as energetic blockages preventing spiritual progress. Forgiveness, both of oneself and others, is a powerful act of liberation, an acknowledgement that the divine within us is greater than any past hurt. Cayce's insights affirm that when we forgive, we dissolve the energetic bonds that tie us to the past, allowing the soul to ascend into higher states of consciousness and harmony. The divine law of divine justice also reminds us that karma is not a punishment, but a school of soul growth. It is designed to lead us towards self-awareness and alignment with our higher purpose. When we actively seek to understand our lessons, to heal the wounds of the past, and to embody virtues such as love and humility, we are, in essence, rewriting the script of our karmic storyline. The records reveal that this process is ongoing. Each realization, each act of forgiveness, each moment of surrender brings us closer to the clearing of debt and the awakening of our divine potential. Furthermore, Cayce's teachings underscore that the process of karmic clearing is intimately tied to our spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, introspection, and service. These sacred acts help us attune to the higher vibrations of the divine consciousness, allowing the soul to access the wisdom stored within the Akashic records. As we deepen our connection to the divine source, the unresolved issues lose their power over us, and the karmic cycles begin to dissolve naturally. In this sacred journey, patience and humility are our steadfast companions. The records remind us that karmic patterns do not resolve overnight. They unfold in divine timing, revealing their lessons in perfect harmony with our readiness to receive. Trusting in this divine rhythm, we surrender the need for immediate results and embrace the process of inner transformation. Ultimately, the soul's quest to understand and balance karma is a journey back to our divine essence. It is an act of reclaiming the Christ consciousness that dwells within each of us, a state of pure love, light, and unity with the infinite source. When unresolved issues are acknowledged and healed, the soul clears its path to higher realms, stepping closer to the eternal harmony that is its true nature. The records reveal that we are not separate from this divine process. We are co-creators of our destiny. Through awareness, forgiveness, and conscious effort, we have the power to transform karmic patterns into pathways of enlightenment. Each lesson learned, each debt cleared, brings us a step nearer to the divine union, where the soul rests in eternal peace, illuminated by the divine light that has always been within us. And so, as we walk this sacred path, let us remember that the universe conspires in our favor, guiding us through the intricate dance of karma, towards the awakening of our highest self, the divine spark that seeks to reunite with the source from which it originated. The journey is long, yet every step is sacred, every challenge a divine invitation to grow, and every resolution a testament to the enduring power of the soul's quest for ultimate freedom. As we continue the sacred journey into the depths of the soul's evolution, it becomes paramount to understand the subtle yet profound indicators that signal a soul's readiness to transcend its karmic cycle. The teachings of the Akashic records, as revealed through the insights of Edgar Cayce, illuminate that the soul's progress is not merely measured by external circumstances or material achievements, but by the awakening of inner consciousness, the alignment with the divine within. It is here, in these sacred moments of spiritual harmony, that we find the true markers of a cycle's completion and the advent of a new chapter of divine growth. The soul in its eternal quest is innately drawn toward states of heightened awareness, moments when the veil between the physical and spiritual thins, allowing glimpses of higher truth to pierce through the ordinary fabric of daily existence. These moments, often subtle and fleeting, are much like whispers from the Akashic records, revealing that the soul is shifting, expanding, preparing to move beyond the limitations of past karma. They are signs that the soul has reached a level of spiritual alignment, an essential prerequisite for breaking free from the cyclical nature of karma. One of the most profound indicators is the emergence of heightened intuition. As the soul seeks harmony with higher consciousness, the intuitive faculties begin to sharpen, offering guidance that transcends the rational mind. Cayce's readings reveal that increased intuition is not merely a coincidence, but a divine signal, an internal compass aligning with the higher self. When one begins to experience deeper insights, clearings of confusion, or sudden flashes of understanding about life's purpose and connections, the soul is attuning itself to the vibrations of the universe. This heightened perception acts like a sacred lighthouse in the darkness, illuminating the path towards spiritual liberation. Yet, intuition alone is not the sole sign. The soul also seeks inner peace, a serene stillness that permeates the heart and mind. This peace is not the absence of challenges, but a deep, unwavering sense of trust in the divine order. It is as if a gentle current flows through the individual, carrying them beyond the turbulence of past emotional wounds and karmic debts. In Cayce's teachings, this inner peace signifies that the soul is no longer bound by the weight of unresolved karma, but is aligned with the divine purpose. It echoes the principle that the soul, in its pursuit of harmony, begins to resonate with the consciousness of Christ, a state of divine love and unity. Furthermore, these moments of awakening and peace often manifest during periods of meditation, prayer, or even spontaneous flashes of insight. They are akin to the gentle awakening of a dormant seed, sprouting toward the light of higher understanding. When the soul experiences these moments, it is as if the divine consciousness is whispering, "You are ready." The soul recognizes that its journey of learning, healing, and growth has reached a threshold, an invitation to step into the next phase of spiritual evolution. In the teachings of Cayce, the significance of spiritual alignment is deeply connected to the concept that the soul seeks to elevate itself beyond the confines of duality and karma. When the soul is aligned, it embodies the virtues of forgiveness, unconditional love, and compassion, creating a vibrational harmony that facilitates the release of karmic burdens. The soul's desire to serve and uplift others becomes more pronounced as it begins to see the divine in all beings. This shift in perception is a key sign that the karmic cycle is nearing its end, because the soul no longer perceives itself as separate, but recognizes its unity with all of creation. The process of spiritual awakening is also accompanied by a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. The question of why begins to dissolve as the soul becomes more attuned to its divine blueprint. Cayce's readings reveal that when individuals begin to experience this clarity, they are aligning more closely with their higher self, a state in which they are no longer driven by unconscious patterns or past karma, but are consciously choosing their path. This conscious choice signifies that the soul is preparing to break free from the cycle of suffering, stepping into a higher state of consciousness that transcends karma altogether. It is important to remember that these signs are not always dramatic or overt. They often appear as quiet, profound shifts, an inner knowing, a sense of wholeness, or a subtle but persistent feeling that something has changed. The soul, in its infinite wisdom, may signal readiness through dreams, synchronicities, or a deep longing for spiritual connection. These are the sacred cues, the divine whispers that the soul is aligned and prepared for the next phase of its divine journey. In closing, the realization of spiritual awakening and inner peace as indicators of karmic completion is rooted in the understanding that the soul's true nature is divine. As Cayce's readings reveal, the soul is always seeking to align with higher consciousness, to remember its origins in the divine source, and to embody that divine love here in the material realm. When these moments of awakening occur, they are not accidental but orchestrated by the universe to reveal that the soul has fulfilled its lessons, yet they also serve as invitations to ascend further, to deepen into the consciousness of unity and divine love. The journey beyond karma is not a sudden event, but a sacred unfolding, a gradual awakening to the truth that the divine resides within. As the soul begins to notice these signs, it is an affirmation that it is ready to transcend the cycles of suffering and step into the eternal light of divine consciousness. Embrace these moments, for they are the sacred keys, the divine gateways guiding the soul back home to its true everlasting nature. As we venture further into the sacred corridors of spiritual understanding, the teachings of Cayce reveal a profound truth. The journey of the soul is an intricate dance with divine timing. It is a sacred process of preparation and trust, a time when the soul, having glimpsed the higher realms through awakening, must now embrace the unfolding of its divine plan with patience and unwavering faith. The transition from one karmic cycle to the next is not merely an event, it is a sacred awakening, a dance of surrender and conscious alignment with the divine will. The records akashicos, as Cayce often emphasized, hold the divine blueprint of each soul's journey. Within these cosmic archives lies the knowledge of past lives, present lessons, and future possibilities. Yet, it is not enough to merely access these records. The soul must learn to trust the divine timing inscribed within. For in the divine economy of the universe all unfolds in perfect harmony, even when the human mind perceives chaos or delay. The soul, in its deepest essence, is eternal and unbounded by time, but the human ego tends to cling to control and certainty. Cayce's teachings reveal that true preparation involves surrender, an inner trust that the divine plan is always working for the highest good. As the soul approaches the culmination of a karmic cycle, it encounters what Cayce called the threshold of transformation. This threshold is marked by an inner shift, a willingness to release old patterns, grudges, and fears that no longer serve the higher self. The soul's search for balance, for harmony, becomes more urgent. The signs are subtle yet profound: a deepening sense of patience, a desire for solitude and reflection, a heightened awareness of synchronicities guiding the path, and a gentle but persistent whisper of the divine within. These signs are sacred whispers from the divine, indicating that the soul is preparing to transcend old karma and step into a new phase of evolution. Preparation, then, is not a passive act. It requires active engagement, an inner dialogue with the divine, a surrender to the natural flow of the universe. Cayce's insights teach that one must cultivate a state of receptivity, a quietness of mind that allows divine guidance to manifest. Meditation, prayer, and reflection on the divine's presence become essential tools in this process. As the soul seeks to align with the divine truth, it begins to understand that its journey is not about forcing change, but about harmonizing with the divine rhythm. The divine timing is always perfect. It is aligned with the soul's readiness, not the ego's impatience. In this sacred preparation, the soul also recognizes the importance of forgiveness, both of oneself and others. Cayce emphasized that unresolved resentment and guilt act as barriers to spiritual progress. To fully embrace the next phase, these energetic blockages must be released, allowing the soul to move forward unencumbered. Forgiveness becomes an act of self-love and trust, a recognition that every soul is on a divine path, working through lessons designed for growth and healing. Trust, then, is the most vital virtue in this process. The soul must trust that the divine timing is unfolding perfectly, that the lessons are being absorbed, and that each moment is an opportunity to deepen its connection to the divine. Cayce's teachings reveal that the universe conspires in our favor, orchestrating events that serve our highest evolution, even when they appear challenging or perplexing. The soul in its inner silence can attune itself to this divine orchestration and find peace amidst apparent chaos. Furthermore, the soul's readiness for transition is often reflected in physical, emotional, and spiritual signs. There may be a sense of inner calm amidst external turmoil, a feeling of being ready without knowing exactly why. Dreams may become more vivid, offering insights from the divine or glimpses of future possibilities. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, become more frequent, guiding the individual toward their next step. The heart opens wider, radiating compassion and understanding, echoing the consciousness of Christ as Cayce often described. The divine plan for each soul's evolution is uniquely tailored, timed not by human clocks, but by the divine intelligence that governs the universe. Cayce's teachings encourage us to surrender to this divine timing, trusting that the next phase will reveal itself when the soul is truly prepared. It is not about rushing or forcing. It is about aligning with the sacred rhythm of life and recognizing that each moment is an opportunity for growth and awakening. As the soul prepares for this transition, it must remember that it is never alone. The divine presence, the guiding light of Christ consciousness, and the benevolent energies of the universe are always available. When aligned in faith and trust, the soul moves with grace through this sacred threshold, embracing the unknown as an essential part of the divine plan. In closing, let us remember that the journey of spiritual growth, guided by the teachings of Cayce, is a sacred unfolding. The divine timing is always perfect, and each soul's evolution is a divine masterpiece in progress. The soul, seeking balance and harmony, must prepare with patience, trust, and an open heart. In doing so, it aligns itself with the flow of divine love, ready to transcend each karmic cycle and step into the radiant light of its true nature, the eternal divine self. And so, in the quiet depths of your being, listen for the whisper of divine timing. Trust it, embrace it, for in this sacred surrender lies the key to your next great awakening. Remember, the journey of your soul is an eternal dance with divine timing, a sacred unfolding that beckons you to trust the divine plan woven into the very fabric of your existence. The subtle signs, inner peace, heightened intuition, and moments of surrender are divine whispers guiding you toward the next chapter of your awakening, reminding you that you are always supported by the infinite love of the universe. As you attune to these sacred signals, you move closer to transcending karmic cycles, awakening the Christ consciousness within, and reuniting with the divine source from which all life flows. I invite you now to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your insights may inspire others on this sacred path. Be sure to subscribe for more spiritual revelations and share this message to help awaken the collective consciousness. Together, let us walk this divine journey toward love, enlightenment, and eternal union.